Welcome to this video series that describes making a small steam test plant. I recently completed a larger test plant and decided I wanted a smaller one to run some of the small engines in my collection. I will put a link to the large test plant video series in the description below. This video describes cladding the boiler. I won the boiler at auction about a year ago. It has been on a shelf in the workshop since. I had pressure tested the boiler when I first received it and everything was fine with it. I decided to make a steam plant out of the boiler as I would like a small boiler to run smaller steam engines in my collection. I'll be making a video series on running steam engines with this test plant soon. From a design perspective, the boiler seems to be a combination of a Lancashire boiler and Scotch return tube boiler. I say this because the boiler has water tubes in the fire tube similar to a Lancashire boiler, but only has one fire tube. The boiler also has return tubes that pipe exhaust gases back to the same end of the boiler as the firebox. If anyone has any comments on the design of the boiler, please feel free to share them in the comments. The cladding process started with supergluing mahogany strips onto the boiler shell. The mahogany strips are a 1/4 inch by a 1/16 inch and are available from Northeastern Scale Lumber. I'll put a link to their website in the description below. The cladding process is basically rinse and repeat. I put CA glue onto the shell, spread it thinly with a scrap piece of strip, attached the mahogany strip, and held it in place while the glue grabs. When the boiler is heated, the CA glue will eventually fail. I plan to use boiler bands to permanently hold the cladding in place. This clip shows one of the boiler bushings on the shell that requires the mahogany strips to be shaped to go around it. I shaped the ends of the strips with a Dremel tool and glued them on. I continued the process of gluing the mahogany strips onto the boiler shell. This clip shows the boiler with the cladding completed on the turntable. It took a while to cut the strips around the protrusions at the top of the boiler, but I eventually got the boiler fully cladded. I trimmed down any longer overhanging strips and then took the boiler over to the belt sander. I carefully sanded down the ends of the mahogany strips until they were flush with the boiler shell. I then lightly sanded the cladding with a mouse sander to smooth out the surface of the cladding. This clip shows the boiler on the turntable after sanding. I'm quite happy with the cladding so far. Next, I took the boiler over to the paint booth and applied a coat of stain. The stain I am using is gun stock semi-transparent stain. I proceeded to apply 2 coats of stain and then 2 coats of wipe-on polyurethane varnish. This clip shows the boiler on the turntable after the varnish had dried. With the varnish dry, I could start building up the boiler, starting with the boiler bands and attaching the boiler to its stand. This clip shows me installing a boiler band at one end of the boiler. I repeated this process at the other end. I have a video in my workshop techniques series that describes how I make boiler bands. I'll put a link to this video in the description below. This is the boiler on the turntable with its cladding completed. I secured the boiler to its stand with more boiler banding. I'll leave this video here and pick up on the steam plant rebuild in the next one. So, that's part 1 of building a small steam test plant. There's quite a lot of work ahead to get the plant built. I'm looking forward to any challenges this presents. In the next video, I'll be making the other vessels for the steam plant. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. Thank you.